It's a miss by 1, dude. I have 10 cards in my library. This is going to mill me for 9. So I'll have 1 card left. If we played the Overlord, we would have lost the game. Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are going to be visiting Reanimator, and I have a card in this deck. A few at least allow us to open up opportunities, and I guess a few. There's only 2 that we're playing in this deck currently. But a couple of these cards from the new set of Tarkir allow this deck to be a lot more consistent and provide a lot more value on the ground when it comes to actually being a threat outside of just reanimating. But if you don't know exactly what our targets are and kind of the cards that we're using for it, we have quite a few here. We have the best card in slot, I would suppose, on the ladder outside of Abuelos if you're counting the Omniscience deck. Clearly they can't play this in that deck. But we have Zombify as a 4-mana card. Return target creature card from the graveyard to the battlefield. Cruelty of Gix has read ahead, so we can go right to that last mode. But target creature card from the graveyard on the battlefield under your control, or we can do the target opponent reveals our hand and we take a thing. That actually comes up pretty clutch. I think about it now in one of our matches where we actually get to take a Jace out of our opponent's hand, which is pretty awesome. But search your library for a card, put it in your hand, shuffle, and we lose 3 life. In those slower matchups, this card's pretty awesome. And then we have Faithful, which is not a tap ability, so you're able for 5 mana to play this and sack it immediately, which is like an uncounterable way to do it if your opponent's holding like a negate, for example, to counter any of your other options. But outside of that, we are heavy on removal with Bitter Triumph, a way to discard our big stuff into our graveyard, Torch to answer all the small little mice. And then we have Fear of Missing Out and Light Shatter as our kind of low to the ground threats that also discard our big stuff. We have Overlord to put it in our graveyard. And Light Shatter and the Regent are kind of the 2 cards we want to cover at the end here, with Ill-Time Explosion being a good board wipe with the big of stuff that we have, and our main threats being Atali, Valgavoth, and Atraxa. Valgavoth is just a good in-the-game threat against all the decks that really don't play Nowhere to Run, so they can't really do much about it. And then it just also has it like, because of course it has that Ward 3 sacrifice. It has Ward sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. I was trying to read ahead for some reason. I don't know why. But then we have Atraxa for that life gain and big card draw, refill, whatever. And then Atali just as a very nice threat to play our cards and our opponent's cards if they're playing a big deck as well. But the 2 cards that help out in this strategy the most is the River Regent. This has Omen, so it unfortunately doesn't go in our graveyard, which is the only downside. But on our opponent's end step, drawing 3 and discarding a card is very solid. And as a 6-mana card, we can technically just play this and bounce our opponent's stuff if we need to, whenever it kind of comes up. Other than that, we have the Light Shatter, which is the best card for this deck that we got access to, being a haster 3/3 when it enters, discard up to 2 cards, so we don't have to do that, but then draw that many cards. And then when it attacks, if we have 7 cards in our graveyard, exile 1 at random. Thank God I don't have to do this in paper, but exile 1 at random, and then you can play that card this turn. So if it's a land, we can play it. If it's a non-land, we can cast it, and go so on and so forth from there, which we get there pretty quick with like Overlords and the other kind of self-discard / mill strategy stuff we have. But outside of that, we're going to hop into the games. The deck plays significantly better than I thought it would today, so that's pretty awesome. With that said, let's dive in. I mean, I guess, right? The only card in our hand's not castable is Fear, and we're on to play, so we get to play a Faithful, we get to go right into an Overlord, maybe Bitter Triumph if we draw a card that's important, and we have the Zombify. Everything feels good outside of course, we need some lands and the actual payoff. This doesn't grab a land, I don't believe. Avatar, yeah, non-avatar creature card or planeswalker. Kind of why it's like, you know, need good ones. Down to 6 for our opponent. Don't know what that means. Most of the time it means red. All right, is it aggro? Sure. A Surveil land's huge. But I would like to play the Overlord first. For combat. Actually, let's not attack. Let's just play this. Hopefully oh, there's a Valgavoth, and we hit the card we want to hit. We leave Valgavoth in there. The only real fear for Valgavoth is, of course, Screaming Nemesis, but the Izzet deck hasn't quite been able to fit that card in. Quite yet, anyway. So hopefully we're solid there, I guess. Obviously, Screaming Nemesis is a problem because if we do block and then they shock the Screaming Nemesis, that ends up doming us for 9. Rend Resolve, Slick Shot, and Monster Trade. So we kind of know the plan of next turn, which allows our Bitter Triumph to be incredibly useful. That's a land on top. I think I do absolutely nothing. I just get the Bitter Triumph, pitch a card if I want, bring back a Valgavoth, and ask my opponent if they'd like to play the game with me anymore. Sure. Honestly, in this spot, I might even take 3 damage. Actually, if I discard the sorcery, right? Yeah, let's discard a card. Do Ill Time. Because that will turn on Fear. We just take no damage. Our creature goes. Because we got to remember, our creature is going to get ripped out of our graveyard here. So here comes Valgavoth. And the thing with Screaming Nemesis, if they play it this turn, if they don't necessarily have to burn for it right away, we at least get to gain 9 life first. And just to target it, they have to sacrifice 3 non-land permanents, so it would just straight up counter it. Again, Fear is ready to go. And that'll just be a big 9 hit, and then we probably end up just playing Light Shatter anyway. I don't think the damage is going to matter too much, but yeah. Is it Prowess falling short against our Reanimator deck? We were on the play, so obviously that means a lot. But kind of just got to wait for them to either... they might have left. I don't know. Their hands highlighting, I was to say. They're still kind of playing. Rend Resolve, Twist Spear. They can play those. I now have Rend Resolve, which is pretty cool. But feel like we're in just we're in wait territory. They can try, but I mean, this is just a crack for 9. Go up to 29. Play a Fear here. Pitch this Atali. Hit a Swamp. Play Swamp. Guess I can just Rend Resolve if I want, but I'll just play this out as well. Do nothing. I mean, I guess it's 2 life to just wheel these. Alright, go ahead. Return away with this as well. So we have 5 damage out of these and Valgavoth. No way for us to have to sacrifice anything. Yeah, this game is over. We're just, I think at this point, completing a challenge. Sure. I now get to Bolt Wave them after I hit them for 9, which is honestly the ultimate way to win. That's how I'm going to win. I'm going to hit them for 9 and then Bolt Wave them, which is pretty awesome. But yeah. I'm even going to set a precedence. I'm going to block with Fear. I can also randomly wheel this, which is awesome. I want to attack with the Light Shatter too. Sure. They're giving themselves a chance. Get to sacrifice everything. Honestly, I respect that. Now, little dudes here, hit the Atali. 1 time. Oh! It's funny. It doesn't do anything. It's just I wanted it to hit it so bad. Let's play a Fear. Card. Their Triumph, pretty good. I'll just hold it. That's so sick. You may play this turn. I wanted to see if it hit the Atali or not. Now, 1 out of 7 it did. That's so funny. We obviously don't get to cast it, but it is what it is. Sure. Opt. All this resolves. I honestly respect them sticking it out, trying to make a game of it, but we've just been in garbage time. Sure. Sure. I'll even let him hit, dude. It's fine. I'll let him think it was closer than it was, you know. But with that said, we'll move on. Well, if we find a way to discard this, we might be fine. We'll keep. Play the red source first. Get that Surveil. Another Surveil land isn't quite what we want, but I don't want to spin it and then never find another land. You know what I mean? Omniscience. That's actually tough. Or control. Also kind of brutal. It'll be so hard to get our card to resolve. I'll take the... Actually, I probably should have been the Bitter Triumph. I kind of just kept it for the idea of discarding it. Sure. I've just kept every card on top. These Surveil lands are worthless. Here. Oh, we decline. The reason we decline is because we have a Light Shatter to discard it now. There's a Zombify. Not revealing this because we can play it and activate it in the same turn because it's not a tap ability. Oh, they reveal a dragon. Okay. We'll play this now. What do we do? The idea is to play this and activate it in the same turn, but fortunately for them, they had the counterspell, and like realistically, counterspells are going to be the hardest thing for us to beat. We don't really have any hand disruption or anything like that. Huh. What do we do here? I don't know. I guess I just pass, right? Have a counter spell in there. Just pass. Just one damage isn't going to make or break this game, I don't think. Sure. This is definitely the tough part about this card, like playing against it. It's so hard to beat that kind of play. When did this... Oh, I guess turn 1. Interesting. I wasn't entirely sure when I hit the graveyard. Do they play many counter spells outside the 4 of those? It kind of depends. If they're playing like what a couple of creators have, they've actually cut it. So it just hasn't been good. Sure. Here. I might even sacrifice this to bring this back, to be honest with you. Oh, there's an attraction and all the goodies. I guess I could just bring it back, huh? Activate this. Valgavoth's awesome. I think we do a Tali here, even though a Tali's answerable. I think with how many big hits we have in our deck, it's almost irresponsible not to wheel this. Especially because of our opponent's deck. Oh, yeah. Okay. What a deck that my opponent has. Now, again, this Itali is cast. Soul Guide Lantern only exiles your opponent's graveyard. So we're just going to use it, I guess. Although, actually, casting that's kind of a mistake. But they can bounce it back to their hand. With, like, one of these. I don't know. I guess if they try to bounce it, I just sack it, right? And then they can't get it back. Now they have to answer this Atali. Results, I guess. And if they go to play the Jeskai Dragon, we just exile their graveyard. Best part about stealing my opponent's Soul Guide Lantern. And if they try to play that to the one dragon that they've been playing, this one, to bounce it, we just sacrifice it in response. Sure. Yeah, Atrax is incredible here, but like Valgavoth, the problem is they can kind of answer a Valgavoth if they're playing Sunfall, but this deck really only plays Ill-Time Explosion most of the time. At least most of the time. Now this works, which is pretty cool. Let's try here. I feel like the chances of us hitting land are pretty high. We wheel this, which we definitely will. The torches aren't really going to do anything. Matchup's going to take a while. All right, we do hit a land, but it is tapped, unfortunately. Keep that there, because that card's pretty solid. Go to combat. Sure. We hold this because if we cast this and it resolves, we can immediately bring something back, and at no point can they respond. Okay. Whenever they target here, we just exile their graveyard. Sacrifice, exile each opponent's graveyard. Exactly what we'll do. They're not going to be able to get lost my Overlord, which is exactly what we want here. Yes. And then we'll just pay 3 here because we already have a Valgavoth in our graveyard. I'd rather keep this just to hard cast it. And that instantly resolves, which is huge for us. I'm going to go for Zombify here. And I'm going to grab out Valgavoth. Just ask my opponent if that's okay. Again, Ill-Time Explosion. Kind of a card they have to deal with. Well, Ill-Time Explosion is never going to get this. They could Sunfall it, of course. But we will force them to have to do it pretty much every turn is the goal. I don't know if they have that, but... Oh, is this the combo deck? Create a token that's a copy of a target token you control. The only problem is anything that goes in their graveyard is just gone. That will make enough tokens, though, for them to, like, get rid of this eventually. This one? This one? Okay. All right. Yeah. We get to play this card. I have a 3-mana card I want to play. Not right now, I guess. Do they have anything? No. I don't really have any way to interact. Actually, I could Bitter Triumph this, but they don't have anything. I'm going to risk playing this Fear of Missing Out, too. I'm going to go for lethal here, I think. Sure. Here. That's a cool card they got. I actually have to read that. I will cast this. And I'll cast this. Submit 0. Our cards are good. 1 draw to rule them all. What will it be? What will you tell? What can you do? There's a Biza. That's not going to get it done. Like, you'll gain some life, but too good. Too good. I'm going to tutor for a card. And we grind it out against the control deck that we now know doesn't necessarily... They might be. But from all the lists I've seen, they're no longer playing Sunfall, and that's why information is king when it comes to these matchups. Because knowing that they're most likely not playing Sunfall, that allows us to be a little bit more aggressive than we would be. So, yeah, with that said, we'll move on. Opponent first, and our hand is tough to look at, so I will maul. I will keep this over what we've seen previously. And I'll let this land go. Yeah. Maybe I should have kept the untapped sources. I feel like, well, Unfortunately, we draw the Valgavoth because what I was trying to say is hopefully with these surveil lands we can kind of ensure that our cards that we want are being drawn and we put the big cards in the graveyard. Looks like it's Boros, most likely a control deck. We'll take this. Colley's just in there as a good vibe guy wherever he's at, and our opponent concedes because I think they know we're Reanimator and they probably can't beat it, so we'll move on. Okay, we go first. We will keep. Get a surveil right away. Land. Hello. Please don't kill me. Smile. Oh boy. Oh, Spyglass Siren? Sky Convoke, maybe? I don't know. I think since we have an Atraxa, we have a free way to just throw it in our graveyard, so we will. And then we play a land here. We can go for Overlord after, but constantly drawing cards in a spot like this is actually better for us. I don't know what our opponent's on. Most likely just use this on its last mode if that's what it comes down to. Might see our Fear of Missing Out get smoked here, which is honestly okay. Because Fear of Missing Out is a good card, but realistically, it's a phantom threat. And what I mean by that is it actually already does the value we want it to do, or has already given us the value we want from it when we play it. We might rip a surveil land here, so let's go ahead and cast this Fear. I do have to discard, which makes me want to discard a land, but then that guarantees I can't hit this. It makes it where it's not guaranteed for me to hit that. So I guess I don't want to deck then, right? I want to make sure I have the highest chance to draw a land here, and we do. Now we're fine. Have a second one. They could go for another torch. I don't exactly have what deck they're on. With a kick torch, are you Oculus? They are, okay. That makes way more sense. Helping Hand, maybe? I mean, I don't have anything to deal with that. We're both just some graveyard guys. We both like our graveyards. We'll go ahead and grab our Fear back. Go ahead and play our Fear back. Get rid of the other swamp again. This Fear of Missing Out has got to be the most annoying thing for them here. Fable Passage. I've ripped a lot of basics, but I definitely have more because I haven't ripped an island yet, so Fable Passage is okay. We have lands in our graveyard too, so it's not like something we're really afraid of. Sure. I am afraid of this, but yeah, I would say it's definitely coming back. Now, I don't know if they could beat an Atraxa. This could be a Spell Pierce, but do they play Spell Pierce? I mean, I guess with that draw, we have no choice. Be another torch. If it's a Spell Pierce, we just probably lose. I think it's a torch. Do I go for the big hit play and play Natali, or do I just play Atraxa and grab a lot of pieces? There's 2 Zombifies in our graveyard. Yeah, we just bring back Atraxa. A little part of me wants to do Natali. Having a 7/7 hit and at least trigger itself is just good. So sorcery, we definitely want this because we can maybe wipe out their whole board, especially if we do an Atraxa. We'll take one of these lands. It doesn't really matter at this point. Enchantment and Bitter Triumph. Sure. Oh, our hand's full, so that's pretty awesome. Overlord's got like years to come back. We do have a 7/7 Death Toucher, which we are perfectly fine with it making contact with this Oculus. They definitely have ways to grow it out of our Atraxa's non-trade range, and what I mean by that is where Atraxa, like, they'll trade regardless, but right now Atraxa can block it for free. And this might be the card that does it. Yep. Yep, there it is. Will they put it on the Oculus? They do. Basically threatening me to block here. Now they're tapped out, so I feel like this block totally makes sense. Right. Now this could be another copy, which I'm not entirely sure about, but I definitely think blocking is the right move. Because again, it trades it off and I gain a ton of life here. Fear is ready to tap and attack. Ill-time explosion is an option. I didn't take the one creature because I thought grabbing the Atraxa for ill-time was going to be our way to go about this game. I don't really want to mill over another one of our win cons, but I don't know if I necessarily have a choice. Let's pop this. Go deck thinning. We don't want any more lands if we can avoid it. Yeah, we have the zombie fights. We have two of the dudes. So we do have a lot of options still. Our hand's entirely like red and black, so we want to make sure we have as many options there as we can. A little part of me wants to just ill-time and then play the second fear. But I want to save ill-time in case this comes back, which I feel like most likely it is. Which then makes me want to hold this bitter triumph. So I guess I'm playing fear here. Discarding one of these lands. There's a torch, which is pretty awesome. I will go ahead and I will torch this face down card because I don't know. Sacrifice this. I would like to scry here. Don't need another one of those, I don't think. Combat attack here, of course. Put a little pressure on as I can. Then, of course, we have this bitter triumph for our kind of solid state removal, if need be. And then we're most likely going to play this Overlord and then grab back a Tali out of our graveyard, because I believe we can do that next turn and still hold up bitter triumph. Because realistically, this is the thing we have to stop, and we have to stop it on their end step. It enters tap, so they're not able to harmonize here. Does technically cause some issues. Now that does have haste. Could hit a card at random here. We don't know what card they'll hit. They could go over though. Be great for us. Am I hitting that? Is that what's making that noise? Sure. Fine. The long run, this 4 is fine. What do they hit? They hit a land, so they can play that this turn. This is pretty cool. I think these threaten way more than like this 5 here does. Again, we're popping this Oculus if we can. A little part of me doesn't even want to cast the Triumph. Okay, with that sacrifice, I am fully engaged on ill-time explosioning here and just getting their entire board in one fell swoop. They have one card in hand and they just scried to the bottom. So I think here I'm just okay with passing. Yeah, sure, manifest up. This is what we were trying to prevent, but I don't think it matters. And there's a zombie fi. So with that said, still think it's whatever. Still think I ill-time here. Cast here. I could have attacked, I guess, but it's whatever. Discard 2 cards gladly. We need it to be 5. So it'll be these. Of course, I didn't attack or whatever, but I don't know if 4 damage is really going to be solving this game. It could. It definitely could. A harmonize for what? They have 3 mana. Kind of sucks because I think this allows them to do that. But I don't think I want to waste my bitter triumph here. Let's keep letting them draw, and this is one of the reasons why. Now they can't harmonize. I'll pay through life, maybe? No, I guess Atraxa is just fine to discard, right? Here. No land off the top, which is fine. There's what we'll hit here. I could go for Atraxa because that hits a land. I mean, if I look at the top 10 and don't hit a land, I guess, like, okay. Instant, sorcery, enchantment. Definitely grabbing a Valgavoth here. Playing our land. Casting the zombie fi. Hitting the Satali. Now I can play some cool stuff. I'll cast your fear, and I'll cast that Tessa. Now, our card count is really low, actually. I'm going to discard just our Valgavoth. The land. We do have to be a little bit careful. I have to do this, so I guess it's just our Overlord. Don't need to put any more cards in my graveyard if I don't have to. It's 20 cards. What are the odds? I might as well attack them. Zombify, what a hit. What a crazy hit. We hit them down and we're ready to go. We're at 19. Everything's looking good. I mean, barring they bring something back somehow and miraculously win. I don't like that noise making. Barring they bring that back, and even if they do, I better triumph it and then they get whatever, right? Oculus in the graveyard when you can just hard cast it, it's a little crazy to me. Especially if you have a helping hand here, I feel like recommissioned, you have a double recommission. Be pretty sick. Pretty cool. Yeah. Game. I don't have a thanks. I'll give that, I guess. Yeah, the ill-time explosion came up super clutch there. That's pretty awesome. All right, well, I think everything's good. We have a blue mana that's active and an Atali in hand. We do just have to find that kind of reanimate spell. We'll play a swamp, imply we have cut down, go into the verge for red mana so we can actually torch the tower something. I mean, Bitter Triumph's also a really nice pickup here. That allows us to kind of flex with this torch to tower. What I mean by that is it just allows us to hold up this torch. If they pump this higher claw, we just hit it with torch to tower. If they don't pump it, then we get the Bitter Triumph next turn. Yeah, so like here, as you get to see, answer that. Basically takes our entire turn 2 off. Everything's looking fine and dandy for us. We play a blue, and now we have Bitter Triumph to like pitch the Atali to. Then we can look to draw a lot. Discard here, Ollie, and just one little zombify off the top, and I'll be pretty happy. All right, maybe next time, maybe next year. But getting to hold kind of this many cards up in a situation like this, our opponent definitely might think we have something. Also, them having to establish a creature this turn obviously opens up a lot for us. We're just going to see a little bit of a bonk here. Yep. Maybe a little more scared to overcommit now that we've double removed their stuff. Fire this off, draw 3. Hopefully we find any effect that reanimates, or we find no effect that reanimates whatsoever, and we just rip through multiple lands in a row. And there's another Bitter Triumph, which is pretty awesome. We'll play a Light Shatter at this point. We're going to discard 2 lands. We are full sailing for the reanimate effect. So the Verge is actually turned on here, so it's definitely the card we're going to get rid of, considering it's not even making us a blue at this point. Okay. Sure, my guy. We're still looking to Bitter Triumph here, but see what happens. Screaming Nemesis. Interesting. Sure. Might get a cool play here, depending what our opponent does. Burst Lightning, sure. I'm fully fine if these trade. It's up to them if they want to save it. I think I have to pay 3 life. They might have another Burst Lightning, which would be awesome for them, of course. But digging this deep and not really finding that reanimate spell. I mean, we're 15 cards. I guess that's not that deep. Sure. Yeah, and this kind of all makes our stuff fall apart here a bit. But they're... Oh my gosh, bro. Just draw a... Please. Just draw a reanimate spell. I mean, holy. They didn't bring up the land, so I feel pretty good. Might have a way to protect it, save it here. If they do, they do. I mean, this is just the epitome of us drawing horribly. Like, look at that draw, dude. What a draw. Now it won't matter. Just going to be too late, isn't it? I have to play this and I lose my zombie fi. Brutal. They have the land to bring up. What a wild game that became. It took us getting 20 cards deep to find one of our 4. Or actually, we played way more than 4. Or even just like a backup spell, man. The removal doesn't matter as long as we can reanimate, but we just ripped land after land after land. But it happens sometimes. We'll just have to call it. Moving on. Yeah. I mean, our hand's good. We'll keep. We have all the interaction and ways to discard big spells if we draw it, as long as we draw one land. Kind of the typical feeling of Magic as of late. My hand's good as long as I draw the land I need. And which opens up our hand a lot, right? Because we get to go immediately into stuff. Oh, well, we do draw a land, which is pretty sweet. 2 torches. I don't know what pile this is. Yes, guy, is it omniscience? Really knows. At this point, fire this off. We'll find out a little bit about it, depending what they counter this with. Alright, so it's just hard Jeskai or blue-white control. Very cool. Players are still allowed to exist somehow. I don't know. That an aggro creature, please don't. Can I draw a land so I can just zombify here for my blue-white opponent just immediately tapping out on turn 3? Which, like, to be fair, in the past was insane. You could never tap out on turn 3 like that. But sure. I didn't put a Manifold Mouse in play, so it's fine. Or a Heartfire Hero. Okay, we miss. I shocked? Not really. I'm gonna do the double torches. Alright, we still miss. Great. Awesome. Fantastic. Never mind, blue-white player. Just tap out again. It doesn't matter, apparently. Doesn't matter if you tap out or not. Allegedly. Combat. Attack. Wait. Land. We will pass now. We're going to go for the Regent on their end step. Alright. Another tap out. I could go for it now, but again, I want them to counter this. Unless, of course, they don't have one, which, by all means. On your end step, I would like to cast this. Any bigger threats we're going to have to actually keep if we start hitting our land drops? Sure. Can't pay for that, correct? Will they have an additional No More Lies? Who will ever know? Attack. One. You have the 3rd copy of No More Lies. I will select the top mode, because if they do have a Jace, I would like to take it from them. Or like a Hornlock Whale or something like that. Sure. Do have a Jace. That's mine now. And they had the Soul Partition, so they were fully ready for it. See the Atala or Sunfall in hand, 3 steps ahead, so I mean, yeah. Here. Sweet, sweet, sweet. Here. Cool. Plus tap land. That's a pretty bad card. It'll all be about getting this stuff to resolve, to be honest. Attack. They soul partition it. We get to cast Fear, missing out. We don't necessarily care about this one being in exile because of the fact that it has haste. Has much better value. And we'll just pass. We're at the epitome of just like slowly casting spells until our opponent answers them. This is a hard game to play for us because eventually they'll get too much value and we can't do anything. But yeah, missing that Atali kind of sucks pretty bad, to be honest. Sure, our opponent proceeds to do nothing. Combat. Attack. I also like the game of doing absolutely nothing and pretending like it's all okay. Now, they obviously have a counterspell up. This doesn't get me to play around in no more lines, which is awful, but, you know, fine. If they counterspell and draw, I get to slip the fear of missing out in. They do. Fear of missing out gets to have the attempt to resolve and win. We have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I guess Torch is still doing nothing. We have 9 mana, so we can hardcast Valgavoth. We don't have a way to make a white or green for Atraxa, so really does nothing here. Maybe I should have just bend it. Combat. Attack. Oh, I could have untapped it if I would just done this, but supposedly doesn't really matter. Let's fetch. Like, you have a Tidebinder or something? Let's cast a creature. Pop. Let's bring out this Atali. Atali's effectively going to draw us cards. In their deck and our deck. Can I pay in this spree? We're definitely going to cast this. We're definitely going to cast this, I think. You only have to pay the spree cost from 3 steps ahead. Yeah, I'll take that. I can cast it next turn. Sure. I decline to discard. Now, casting is obviously risky, but honestly, the main thing we need to hit out of their deck is we need to hit a copy of their Jace. That's really what this all comes down to. And I have a creature I could bring back with haste, but I'm going to fire this off. Did you rip the counterspell? No, you did not. And I also stole one, so you don't have a great chance. Temporary lockdowns, whatever. I'm not even casting it. Decline. Doesn't really matter. Discard just the Atraxa here. And honestly, we're just going to win off this card if we can. Unfortunate hit. That's okay. Obviously, they're going to get to Sunfall next turn, which is brutal. But on one hand, we have a couple of options. We just bring out this. That's just our Zombify target. I mean, I guess they have a blocker now, so it's a little bit weird. Maybe I just go for Atraxa. Right, at this point. Overlord's pretty good cast. Attempt to bring out Atraxa. Their Triumph might be an important pickup now, so we can hit a Jace in case of a Soul Partition situation. Zombify. I don't really need more lands, and these go to the bottom, right? Put them on the bottom, so I'll just let these lands go to the bottom and let them live down there for a while, I think. Don't really know if there's necessarily a reason to rip them out. And I guess I'll play this Fear. Get rid of maybe my Swamp now. There you go. We are at the epitome of just cast a game-winning threat every turn, hopefully. And the more Overlords I put in play, the more likely they can just play Jason and win. Oh, well, that can do it. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. If spells bargain, look at the top 8. I could definitely find a copy of Sunfall and a Jace. Or 2 copies of Jace. They can hit me for 18 total cards, which almost just does it, I guess. We know our bottom cards are not good, so realistically, if that's the case, we also just get the Light Shatter, I suppose. Attempt to Light Shatter. Have a land in hand. Oh, my opponent flipped their deck. Help. Also, when we attack here, we attack with Traxa and Fear of Missing Out. I'm gonna attempt to bring this back too. But we attack with Atraxa and Fear of Missing Out, and then we untap the Fear of Missing Out because Atraxa is more likely to get hit with the removal spell. And if they don't remove Atraxa, then sure, like, you know what I mean? But what's up, dude? What we got? What's on the menu? They say nice. I don't know what that means. You have that win or not? How many Light Shatters I have? I have 2 in Exile.
I'll take note of all your failures.
This is so help me. If this is double Jace mill and they couldn't count that much, is it missed by 1? Is that why? Show me the miss by 1, please. It's a miss by 1, dude. I have 10 cards in my library. This is going to mill me for 9. So I'll have 1 card left. If we played the Overlord, we would have lost the game. Insane. Insane. What? That's crazy. Because this is at 3 loyalty, so it'd be 9. As you can see one more time, I have 10 cards in there. Yeah, that is incredible. What a win. What a win we come away with. Very awesome. Okay, so here we are. We had some incredible games. There were a couple where we just got kind of overran or stuff like that. I think one of the games I cut, I don't believe I put a single spell in the stack, is I kept a 4-land hand, and then I had like kind of my big stuff in hand, and then I proceeded to draw every copy of my big stuff. As you can see, there's not that many. So how I managed to draw just these and they were uncastable, I have no idea. And I just died to mono red. So it was like they were on to play. It was kind of inevitable. Other than that, yeah, this deck was awesome. This deck was super sweet. It worked out way better than I thought. We also have a lot of reanimative effects that we're allowed to play. And we have a lot of ways to dig for it. And cards like Fear of Missing Out that I called a phantom threat, where it is scary that it could win. I guess technically in the last game it did win us the game because it would allow us, even if they plus the Jace, to, well, I guess then we would just hit Jace with the Traxa and it wouldn't have mattered, right? So it's a little weird, but these cards are sweet at getting cards out of our hand that we want out of our hand, but also being threats on the board in of themselves. I mean, the Light Shatter did so much combat damage in a couple of games that it actually just made bring any of these threats back like a viable option. But the main thing is to note here is we don't play too many, and we're not going way too overboard in this deck. As you can kind of see, we're very thin on it, and we're across the board on all of it. Any of them are typically good. It's probably not quite as strong in this deck as it could be whenever you're talking like you're overloaded on Valgavas or Traxxas. So realistically, this isn't going to wheel and hit. But if your opponent's playing a good solid deck, you can use this against them, and that's pretty cool game plan for us, obviously. But with that said, I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.